What's the instant reaction around the league to Sacramento trading Tyrese Halliburton?
Stunned. Tyrese Halliburton was stunned, Malika. The league is stunned at this trade.
This is some form of malpractice on the Kings' part. This is some form of malpractice.
What on earth would tell anybody in the last 15 years that the Kings are going to do anything that make any sense?
Nearly a year after the Sacramento Kings were trashed by practically every single talking head in the NBA media, the Kings currently sit 4th in the Western Conference with their best net rating in 16 seasons. And oh yeah, that duo that was formed as a result of the Tyrese Halliburton trade has been the catalyst for one of the best offenses in the NBA and the best offense in Sacramento Kings history. Well, statistically at least, but a great offense nonetheless. And there's absolutely no doubt that trading for Domantas Sabonis has been the difference for this Kings team and offense this season. I mean, there's only one other center in the league that is doing things like this. There's 6 minutes left in the game and scores are tied. Hand it to your big man to bring the ball up the floor. Murray fakes a handoff before cutting to the rim, and Sabonis puts it in the most advantageous position possible, which leads to an and one. Or in this play where Sabonis gets to the middle of the floor, takes one dribble to collapse the defense. Let me just pause it right here. Both Okoro and Allen form a wall, so Domas casually drops a behind-the-back pass to a cutting HB to bypass that wall. Just to put into perspective what Sabonis is doing, over the course of NBA history, only 4 players have averaged at least 12 rebounds and 7 assists per game over a season. Those names, you might ask? Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, and over the last 2 seasons, Nikola Jokic and Domantas Sabonis. In addition to this, he's averaging a casual 19 points per game on over 61% from the field. Oh, and he's knocking down threes at a pretty good percentage as well. But before we talk more about his scoring and just how well the team is feeding off his offensive play, De'Aaron Fox deserves some credit. Do you guys remember when he was one of the most overpaid players in the league and considered a negative asset? Because those are things that I heard quite often. Fast forward a year later, and De'Aaron is averaging 24 and 6 on career best efficiency whilst forming a formidable duo with Domas, as I alluded to before. But there's one area of his game in particular that needs to be highlighted. You might be looking at the most clutch player in the NBA right now. He hasn't just been good at closing out games. He's shooting nearly 60-40-90 in clutch game situations, which, as you can see here, are the last 5 minutes of games that are decided by 5 or fewer points. And I just want to highlight one game in particular that encapsulates how dominant he can be in these situations. With the Kings trailing by 1 point heading into the 4th against the Jazz, De'Aaron had an all-time great 4th quarter. 22 of his team's 29 points in the last quarter on 9 of 10 shooting. 90% from a point guard to close out a very close game against a fringe playoff team. Here he is navigating a Sabonis screen. He feints as though he's about to pass it to the rolling Sabonis before hitting a nasty in and out to create separation on the step back. Or the next possession with Olynyk worried about Sabonis in transition, Fox just attacks Malik Beasley for the floater. And just to cap it off, in the last 30 seconds of the game, De'Aaron attacked Clarkson off the dribble for a nasty pull-up midi, before then getting the switch onto Markkanen with the scores tied, and you guessed it, beating him off the dribble as well. His combination of shiftiness in the pick and roll with Sabonis late in games, paired with hunting mismatches, which is damn near everyone against Fox with a spaced floor, is what has led to him dominating in late game situations and just being at an all-star level all season long. But it gets better, because after trading for Sabonis last year, this was the reaction from one JJ Redick.
De'Aaron Fox can't shoot, Sabonis can't shoot, so you're building a team around 2 non-shooters with a bunch of non-shooters. Make it make sense, Zach. Make it make sense.
Now, little did JJ know, Monte McNair was cooking up something serious, because not only did he draft Keegan Murray, who we'll talk about a little bit later, and guess what? the Kings got clowned for that as well. Before he had played a single game, they were getting clowned for it. But the biggest robbery of the offseason, outside of the Gobert trade, was Sacramento getting one of the best shooters in the league for absolutely nothing. And this is what often seems to get overlooked when talking about the Kings. This just isn't a dynamic duo. They have a legitimate young core centered around Sabonis, Fox, Huerter, and Keegan Murray, without even mentioning one of the best screen navigators in the league, Davion Mitchell, and Malik Monk, who's only 24. But I want to focus on Kayvon, because at just 24, there's every reason to believe he has another level to reach. This is a 6'7" guard who can self-create, shoot off movement, and also create for others. And it's the shooting that we need to focus on, because Kevin Durant said it best.
Kevin Huerter right now,
Red Velvet.
he playing like Clay, Steph, like the way he coming off the handoffs and shooting a basketball right now. You got to watch how Kevin Huerter is shooting this ball right now.
And it's plays like this which KD is talking about. Murray gives the ball to Sabonis before faking the DHO and cutting backdoor. This draws Olynyk, which then frees up all that room for Huerter to come off a DHO at pace and hit nothing but net. Or on this play where Keegan sets an off-ball screen to once again free up Kayvon coming off that handoff from Sabonis, and it's the quickness at which he attacks these handoffs along with the constant movement and sets from the Kings offense that makes him impossible to guard in these situations. Just to put into perspective what Huerter is doing, since 2020, only 2 other players have averaged at least 3 handoffs a game. Steph Curry in 2021 and Jamal Murray the same year. Kevin Huerter is leading the NBA in handoffs per game at over 3 a game and is doing it on insanely good efficiency. In addition to this, Huerter can also leverage his shooting gravity off these handoffs to then find a rolling Sabonis if he draws the defense towards him. In general, he's a very underrated playmaker and a good connective passer as someone who constantly makes that extra pass to find an even better option. I should also probably mention that he's statistically the most efficient pull-up three-point shooter in the NBA, and if he can up that volume, I think that's the next step to him becoming a 20-point per game scorer. And while we're on the topic of three-point shooting, the awful draft pick that was Keegan Murray is one of 3 rookies in NBA history to shoot over 40% from 3 on over 5 attempts per game, with ironically one of the other players being Tyrese Halliburton. In addition to the three-point shooting, he's also shown a lot of good signs as a cutter off the ball. He's good at recognizing when the defense is overplaying him and then making a sharp cut to the rim, or in the pick and roll situations where the defense collapses on Sabonis and Keegan is able to make a backdoor cut for an easy lay. His combination of three-point shooting, cutting ability, and potential defensively with his length and size seems like a perfect fit alongside Domantas Sabonis. In addition to this, Mike Brown deserves Coach of the Year shouts, because not only has he provided a sense of stability to a franchise that has needed it for so long, but for the Kings to look like a team that has been together for half a decade, despite having so many new pieces, is just a testament to how bought in they all are and how good a job he is doing. Oh, and this has to be one of the loudest crowds in the league. Anyways, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, you might as well drop a like, that would be much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel for more. Have a great day. Bye.